Very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome back to your offline class. In previous class, I have just discussed from the chapter 12 from your NCERT book Science Reproduction in Plants. There I have discussed mode of asexual reproduction, namely vegetative propagation by roots, stems, leaves, buds. Okay. Now, in this class, you will come to know about other modes of asexual reproduction. We have already discussed this one. Today, I will discuss budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. Okay. So, we will come to know this all in more detailed form. Okay. Now, please follow your NCERT book Science, page number 135. Okay. Now, let's start with budding. Budding is a mode of asexual reproduction. Now, where this type of reproduction, this type of asexual reproduction takes place, you must have known with the term yeast. Yeast is an unicellular organism. You have found it in respiration in organisms, no? In anaerobic respiration, we have seen that in a cell, anaerobic respiration takes place, no? And yeast is also used in bakeries, no? For puffing of cakes, bread, you know. Okay, and actually this puffing due to fermentation. Okay, now let's begin. We already known this term yeast. Yeast is an unicellular organisms, means it is made of only one cell, and that is multiply very fast within an hour, 1 to 2 hours. Okay, if they get sufficient amount of nutrient around its location. Okay, now we can easily remember this single-celled organism that is known as yeast. Now, yeast, how they reproduce? They reproduce by asexual mode of reproduction by means of budding. Now, that is why they can grow very fast. Now, why this is very fast method? In activity 12.3, you can see, take a piece of yeast cake or yeast powder from a bakery or a chemist shop, take a pinch of yeast and place it in a container with some water and add a spoonful of sugar and shake to dissolve it and keep it in the warm part of a room. And after an hour, put a drop of this liquid on a glass slide and observe under microscope. Then under microscope you will be able to see the yeast cell. Okay. Now they will easily grow, easily reproduce within. They reproduce very fast. Now, how this reproduction takes place? You can see figure 12.5. How their reproduction takes place. Reproduction in yeast by budding. There you can see there is a. There is a yeast, that is a single cell organism, and after some time they will growing a small bud-like structure in this position. You can see this bulb-like or bud-like structure is known as bud. This is called bulb-like structure, and in the next figure it will be more prominent structure. Okay, more prominent structure in yeast means the bud is actually propagated in a mature way, and after this figure, from this bud so many buds can arise. As this is an yeast cell, you can see, and another bud cell, another bud. In this figure, this will like this way, and here this, and this is a complete bud, and in this figure a bud from a parent yeast cell, then from this bud another bud will arise, then this bud from another bud will arise. By this way they reproduce. This process is called budding. Okay, so I hope you understood all. The small bulb-like projection coming out from the yeast cell is known as bud. So this bud, due to this name bud, this process is called budding. Okay. Now the bud gradually grows and get detached from the parent cell and forms a new yeast shell. So they will grow Further, they will get detached from the parent cell and they will become a separate yeast cell. Okay, by this way, and the new yeast cell grows, matures and produce more yeast cell, as you have already seen in the last figure. No, so we have seen the chain of buds. This is called a chain of buds in case of yeast cell. So by this way, this process continues. A large number of yeast cell can be produced in a very short time. So we have discussed another mode of asexual reproduction, that is known as budding. I hope you understood. If you have any problem, you can ask me in the e-portal. Now I am rubbing this portion, budding. Now comes to fragmentation. Okay, so we have discussed budding. Now comes to fragmentation. I am rubbing this portion. Now fragmentation. In chapter 1 you have seen what are algae. The green slimy patches that are growing in stagnant water or moist wall. Okay, these are called algae. Okay, now how this algae grows in a very short time, grows very fast in a short time? Do you know there is a mode of reproduction in them that is known as fragmentation. Actually, this algae, when they actually looks like, if this is a just ream-like structure, this is a total ream of algae, and if we cut this algae, then it will grow further by this way. Okay, so this is known as fragmentation. Here I have shown you fragmentation process in case of algae known as Spirogyra. Spirogyra is a type of algae, a name of algae, name of an algae. Okay, Spirogyra, this is a species name. Spirogyra is a type of algae. Okay, that is already in your book, you can see. So by this way they can easily, by fragmentation they can form a new algae. Okay, so here when water and nutrients available, algae grow and multiply rapidly by fragmentation. So when they get sufficient amount of water and nutrients that is available in their habitat, then they multiply rapidly by fragmentation. Okay, and algae break up into two or more fragments that I have already told, and these fragments or pieces grow into new individual, and this process continues and they covered a large area within a very short time period. Okay, so I hope you understood. And if we cut them, if we fragment them, they can easily grow into a new structure. Okay, so here we have seen what is fragmentation, that is another mode of asexual reproduction. Okay, now I will discuss about spore formation. I am rubbing this portion and proceed towards spore formation. Okay, spore formation. From your book, page number 136. In chapter 1, you have learned that fungi on a bread piece grow from spores which are present in the air. That you have already seen in case of pickles, also the things which are made of leathers. These all things actually easily they get such spores from fungi. Okay? And repeat activity 1.2, observe the spores in cotton-like mesh on a bread. When spores are released, they keep floating in the air, and as they are very light, they can cover long distance. As you know, these spores are very low weighted, so they can easily fly from one place to another place, and these spores are asexual reproductive bodies, and each spore is covered by a very hard protective coat of that is why this protective coat is there to withstand with the high temperature, also the less humid condition. Less humid condition means means very dry weather. Then this protective coat for there to withstand or to protect themselves from such harsh condition of the environment. Understood? Now comes to the point, and they can survive for a long time. That is why they can survive for a long time, as they have such a protection in their body. And one thing, under favorable condition, spore germinates. Okay, under favorable condition means when they get the favorable condition or the specific time for their dispersal, then they easily germinates and develops into a new individual, and plants such as moss, fern also reproduce by means of spore. You must have seen there are some plants which are actually grown over the very old wall, okay, wall of houses. You must have seen just a structure like figure 12.8. These are actually example of fern. Okay. Now this fern, now I am going to draw the picture of this spore formation, how this spore formation takes place. In the picture 12.7, this sporangium, it is in immature stage of a fungi. Okay. And when they get matured, they will burst. They will burst and they will just spread here and there. Okay. So here the hard structure known as sporangium, that is their protective cover to withstand with high temperature and less humid condition. Okay, and this hyphae through which they grow, and this is in immature condition and this is in mature condition, means if when they get favorable condition, a spore germinates, and such spores, these are called spores. Okay, then these spores actually germinates and develop into a new individual. Okay, they will spread, they can easily spread as they have very light, they are very light weighted, and so they can cover a very they can cover long distance. Okay, so by this way reproduction through spore formation in fungus or fungi takes place. This is takes place in case of fungi. Now how this spore formation occurs in fern, I will show you another picture. This is a leaf of a fern. I am just drawing up to this portion. These are this portion, upper portion of that leaf, okay, and in this portion you can see these are lower portion, and this lower portion of this fern bear sori like structure. These are called sori or spore forming bodies. So many spores are present in the lower portion of this fern. Okay, these are called shory or spore forming bodies. Okay, spore forming bodies, So from here spore can be easily spread, and by this way their reproduction takes place. New plant can be easily grown from such spores. Okay, so these are spores in case of ferns. Okay, in case of fern. So I hope you understood. If you have any problem up to this portion, asexual mode of reproduction, I have already told you different modes of reproduction in asexual reproduction. There you have seen. Okay, if you have any problem up to this portion, means vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation and spore formation, you can ask me in the e-portal. Okay students, that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day.